What's happening, YouTube? My name's Immortal Coil, and today we are doing the fourth wave Savage Edition. With me, as always, is my good buddy, my co-host, Sporking News Podcast. How you doing today, sir?
Hail, my brother. What's going on?
Just another day in the funny farm, man.
I hear you.
Lots of interesting stuff going on. How's everything over there in Sporkland?
Sporkland is good, man. I've been focusing mostly on A Song of Ice and Fire, which for people that are TV watchers is like a Game of Thrones, but it's the book series, and I've been really enjoying it. I've gotten away from every day dealing with the bullshit we're about to talk about. You know what I mean? Just to give myself my own like sense of zen. You know what I mean, man? Like just mellow out with something I love. So I started a new stream Monday night with Stig Kenobi and According to Christie, where we're going to be doing Song of Ice and Fire, the next book is Winds of Winter, and we're going to be doing like preview and predictions of the chapters. And then May 11th, if you want to join us, we're going to be doing a book club with Game of Thrones. So the very first book is called Game of Thrones, a reread of the whole saga for the release of the new book. So everyone, if they could read, maybe 5 or 6 chapters of the first book, because it is a big book and we're going to discuss it. So that's what I've been doing, man. And just dealing with, hanging with the family and, teaching my daughter and go back to work Sunday. So good times.
Right on. It's like Oprah's book club, but it's like the sport book club.
Totally. I hope I get as big as Oprah.
Yeah.
Not as fat, but as big.
Well, I've also been seeing that you and Steven have been doing a TR4 show. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, of course, man. TR4 is myself, Steven, on his channel with, so you got the 2 token white guys in their 40s, and then you got the Jane Theory and Lorena Creole, who are both, and they're going to hate me saying this, people of color, which they're both, they have Black history in them. And I think Lorena, like they're from Louisiana, so it's a mixture, but they're definitely not white guys. So it's a nice blend of different views on different topics. And we've been having fun with that.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, yeah, you guys go and check that out. It looks like you guys do that on Tuesdays.
Yeah, that's Tuesday night usually it starts about 6:30.
Awesome. Well, that's cool. And speaking of Game of Thrones, our first article tonight, we have a bit of news. I'm going to do a share screen. I hope this doesn't blow up in my face.
We will see. We got a couple people in the chat. I'm glad to see that.
How's that going?
We got Nancy and is it Brian the Observer? Brian. Good to see you guys.
Okay.
And what do we see here? Firefox.
So
nice.
Yeah, we got Firefox going on the screen. Yeah. All right. Do you see anything from the Metro right there?
Oh, there's Stephen Walton in the chat. Hey, why don't you join us? Are you too big for us now?
Are you too big for us now?
Are you too big for us, Lottie? So all I see is the Firefox. You want to send it to me?
Firefox.
Want to put it in the private chat?
Yeah. I'm gonna put it in the private chat. We'll get that going there.
Yeah. So it does go along with what Game of Thrones, which is a perfect lead up to this one. And we're gonna start off right, Immortal. We're gonna start off with a cheerful, happy thing, right? Because we've had enough of all the other bullshit that we're going to get into. So it's always good to start off happy.
Absolutely. And that's the thing is a lot of our critics want to say that the Phantom Menace is solely about vitriol and that we're just like these scowling, angry, Monopoly monocled, Mr. Peanut guys. Right. We're not. I think that all of our anger stems from the lack of respect that's owed to our modern mythology, right. And when something goes right or when something that we love goes right, of course we want to celebrate. We're the first with our mugs in the air and the turkey legs in our mouth.
Hell yeah, man. Going all, like Odin on that ass.
Mm-hmm.
We want to celebrate. All right. I got it here. Let's see
what got that.
Yeah, I'll be sharing it in 1 second. Let me just close out Twitter so my computer doesn't crash. And share screen. It might be loading as we watch it, but hey, that's how we roll.
That is how we roll. Truer words were not spoken. So
Yes,
yeah,
sir.
once again, let's hail Nancy. How you doing, Nancy?
Nancy.
Yeah. Let's
Nancy
hail.
said, I've missed a week of you and Steven. So I don't know where Nancy's been, but I'm glad Nancy's back.
We're gonna hail. I want to say Brian, but I've also been watching a lot of medieval things, so I've been thinking like the Priory of Brion kind of stuff. So Brian, and if I mispronounce you, you can go ahead and light us up in the comments. We'll definitely respond. And then
cool
guy,
cool profile pic. I like that.
This ugly guy right here. We want to take a chance and take a minute to congratulate author Stephen Walton. He got called up to the big show last night. Did you catch that one, Sport?
The big show, man. No, dude, I watched some of it live, and then I mean that is the show that's started it all. I mean that is the show started the fairness. It might have been different people that used the term and started it on their channel, but if it wasn't for the High Council, I don't think the Phantom Menace would be where it is right now.
Agreed.
It really blew up, a little while ago. So it was really nice to see that author who's not joining us yet. But if you want to share that picture, I put it up there.
Let's go ahead and do that.
All right.
And that looks like a big blob. Is that what you got? The Game of Thrones, the Metro article?
Yes. I don't see anything on the screen. Did you actually? Oh, yeah, you did share it. That is strange. Let me stop and reshare it now that it's loaded more.
Yeah.
All right. Let's try that one more time. We are technical people. We are on the ball. All right. Try sharing. Yeah. God, my freaking computer sucks as much as yours.
Wow.
All right. Try sharing it now.
There it goes. That looks like a much better image.
All right.
Look at this happy mofo. Okay.
How do you say his name?
I think if you swallowed hold a bunch of pebbles in your mouth and go
it's like Halfbar Julius Bjornsson. I know it's Bjornsson because I know
it sounds name, like that, but you have to
Bjornsson. Fergie.
Oh, look who decided to join us.
Well. Well.
From deep underground in
the deep underground bunker. Right. The California humidified bunker.
Oh, yes. John Travolta in his bubble.
Yeah.
Great movie. The Bubble Boy.
Bubble Boy.
Oh, yes. Are you a fan of Game of Thrones, Death Star?
I watched the first 4 or 5 seasons and then got out of it.
Smart man.
But you recognize this guy.
The Mountain. Happy. Yeah, I watched this season. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, this mountain didn't come in until I think the 3rd, maybe the 4th season.
He's the one who took Adam. What's his name? The Mandalorian.
Yes,
he took him out.
He fought the Red Viper.
Yeah.
And then he was on it for the rest. That was his That was his first season. Before that, they had 2 different guys play the mountain, but this guy ended up playing him perfectly. I mean, he just had that physique of what the mountain's supposed to look like. And the mountain is, I mean, he's exactly what they say he is. He's a mountain of a man. And to be bigger than his brother too, who is
the Hound.
The Hound, right. So it's pretty cool to see, this guy who plays one of the more vicious characters in any book series or any show I've ever seen. And, see him all just with his little itty bitty wife celebrating a baby.
Oh my
girl,
gosh, she's
or
so much
boy
smaller
or girl. Oh, looks like boy, huh?
It says girl. Oh yeah, I don't know.
Boy or girl. And the blue it looks like blue confetti.
It does look like blue. Yeah, you're right.
Star is having a baby boy.
Look at that.
Baby
That's
boy.
awesome.
Yeah, there it says the caption.
Dude,
so this guy,
Evil
so he was a different
bastards can
actor.
reproduce. Yeah.
Yeah, he was the third, I think, mountain that came into the show.
But was it the same? It was the same character, just different actors.
Different actors, exactly. Okay. He is the one though that everyone remembers as the mountain. You know what I mean? Like, he is the one that just as he's a. I mean, the first scene with him is him like battling some little guy with no shirt on. He's just a freaking beast of a man. And it's really cute to see him with this little blonde wife. And he's celebrating like he must be stoked to be having a son.
Just look at him. It looks like two of her can fit in each of his pant legs.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. He got a little fuzzy there, I guess. But yeah, that's an awesome one. I would drop it though, because my computer's starting to play funny. But yeah, that's freaking cool, man. Good for him. I'm happy for him. We wanted to start the show with something happy, Spork. I was about to call you Spork. Final.
Almost called me Spork.
Careful what you're calling my friend there.
Yeah, right. What a loser, Sporkin. But yeah, what have you been working on, Final?
Well, I did that video on Bob Iger, and that was a pretty good story there. I can't believe that I almost can, because I had said from the get-go, I don't think they have confidence in this Chapek guy. He just didn't.
I threw the link to that article in the chat. So if one of you guys want to grab it and do a screen share, then
he put it actually in the Twitter chat.
Oh, in the Twitter chat. Okay. Oh, I see it here. Yeah, I'll pull it up.
Yeah, why don't you pull it up, because our computers suck.
And you have a much better reading voice than we do.
Oh,
geez. Yeah, and I also think Final, like we were talking before you got here backstage, you hit the nail on the head with the date he did it on.
Right.
Easter? Like what
you're gonna like, so to speak, resurrect to your position of power on Easter Sunday. I mean, that
like try to take away some of the some of a lot of Americans, a lot of the world's God, son of God, and you're gonna try to take his shade, like that's messed up.
That's definitely intentional, a day to do that. Yeah, I did. I did a video, and I first put I put a thumbnail up for it, and I got a comment, kind of like half joking, it was like, hey, that could be like taken as blasphemous, and I was like, oh, that is not the intention. Like my intention was the fact that he was choosing to do it on Easter, because I'm a Christian, so it definitely was not intentional to make it seem that way. But for him to do it on Easter Sunday, on his like rise, Bob Iger has risen, that's kind of, you're right, Spork. That's kind of like a throwing shade at Jesus. It's like, I'm going to do it on Easter Sunday. Like, that's going to make big news, right? Big headlines to choose to go back into your CEO position.
Well, so it's almost that idea that
weird and oddly timed.
It's almost that idea that media should supplant your idea of God, whatever that is.
Well, and in a way, you're right. Yeah. Like these people, I don't want to get religious on it, but it is a savage edition.
Savage edition.
The savage, we can go anywhere. I feel the idea that these people don't realize that they're trying to make themselves false gods. Like he thinks he's that important that on Easter Sunday, for a third of the world, he's more important than their risen Lord. Like I used to be I'm a spiritual guy, and I was raised Protestant. I went to Catholic high school. I respect the principles of Christianity. I don't always respect the people that are involved with Christianity, but
sure.
What bothers me is just the pure arrogance of thinking that on a Sunday, which is, first of all, you shouldn't do it on a Sunday. You know what I mean? Like that's just not cool. But then to do it on Easter Sunday, I think that's a really disrespectful move of his. And I don't think he got pointed out in the Access media the way he should have.
Well, and what do you think? Is this an instance of it trying to be slipped under the radar? Like, oh, by the way,
yeah,
I don't think this is a blatant like he took his.
No, I think it's I think it's that. I mean, you make a move like that on Easter Sunday, I think you're going to get headlines.
Right.
I think it was an intentional move. Now, to what end? I don't know. Was he intentionally trying to, kind of metaphorically show he's resurrecting the power, so to speak. I don't know if that was really the case, but I mean, it definitely came off that way to me.
Guy that's gotten where he has doesn't think about every way he could be viewed.
Exactly. Yeah, that's what I think.
And he has enough people under. Well, granted, he did write the shit he wrote in the book and didn't think anything of it. But I just think this guy is that arrogant. And what he did to this Bob Chapek guy was a setup. He stepped down, but never stepped off the board. And he allowed this guy to take the hit, knowing, I think he knew this was coming. This is my speculation, people. But I believe he thought he knew something was coming with the economy. Let this dude Chapek take the hit. And then him coming back, I think he came back for two reasons. Once, because of his ego, but two, to try to get the investors, like Bob Iger's back. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
things where I think
who's back?
Right. He's trying to settle the stocks. He wants the stocks to rise. Well, I'm back, guys. I bought Marvel. I bought Star Trek. I bought, 20th Century Fox. I've done all this stuff. I'm back, baby. And he's an arrogant freaking prick.
Well, yeah. So then why come out with your memoirs if you're so-called retired?
I don't think he planned it. I don't think he planned coming back. I really don't.
Okay, now was that planned for him? And why is this Corona Voldemort being used as the excuse for his reemergence?
Well, I think he's one of those people right now that thinks, okay, if I come back now, we might be able to save the stocks because he has stocks. And I think he also thinks if I do this, when I run for the 2024 election or whatever he's going to run for, because I believe he wants to run for in politics, he could say, look how I took one of the largest corporations in one of the worst moments in, recent world history, and I saved it. That's his.
I mean, the thing is, he must be pretty confident that he's going to be able to save it somehow, or he knows something that we don't know. Because why would you step down because I thought, the stepping down was a perfectly timed move on his part. He saw the writing on the wall. He saw the shutdown, said, I'm going to get out now before this hits the fan, and I'm to blame because he's done so much to build up Disney with, the big acquisitions of Fox Entertainment, Pixar, Marvel, and Star Wars. So, you leave at that perfect time. But now it's not only, it's been like, what, a month and a half? And we haven't really changed. The economy's no better. We still don't really know when this is going to end. At least the public doesn't, unless he knows something we don't know. And now you're going to step back in to try to save this. I mean, you got out. If the reason he got out was because he was trying to avoid this, why would he come back now? It's not like we're in a better position where like, oh, I see, the lights at the end of the tunnel and I'm just going to step right in and things are going to go smooth. I mean, I think it's still volatile unless he knows something.
Well, I think Disney's in a lot of trouble. I think Disney is in a lot.
Theme parks are their main attraction.
One of them,
going to the theme parks right now. So it's like, okay, are we going to pull this dick out again and suck it? Or is this, was this like a planned move? Like, okay, let them flounder. Okay, I guess I'm the only guy who could do the job.
I think that's part of it. I really do. I think his arrogance thinks he can fix it. But I think Final
has the art of war.
I think, well, in a way, I think Final also believes, I think what Final said is actually valid too, where he might, dude, this guy's in the know. He's one of those people.
Yeah.
He is I won't say their names, but it rhymes with Enton. He's one of their boys. He knows what's going on with this country world. So he's a globalist too. So he must know something a little bit more than we know.
Well, let's go ahead and take a moment to welcome author Stephen Walton, fresh off the first class plane. How was that ride?
Hail the fandom menace. Fuck Bob Iger, this motherfucker. This motherfucker came in and put in Bob Chapek because he was expecting all the shit to fall down from all the failures that he's been pushing. Galaxy's Edge failing, buying Star Wars and making it nothing but garbage, putting SJWs in control of Marvel. We're going to get a whole slate of SJW films pushing Captain Marvel. He knew it was coming. If this asshole has any kind of want to make a presidential run, he's going to want to look behind him and say, look at all this success. But But it's all going to fall apart. Let me put Chapek in there. Chapek, who was responsible for Galaxy's Edge being rushed and being the disaster that it was. So let's put him in there. Let's put a professional fall guy in this position.
Right.
And
well,
now he realizes,
girl, right?
now he realizes that he can't just walk away from this because of the virus. Now he realizes he can't just walk away from this because people are going to point the finger and go, "Hey, didn't you dip out just before everything went to shit?" So now he's going to come back in and try and save it. What this douchebag is going to do is if he manages to find a port for this storm, then he's going to say, "Hey, look what I did. Not only did I make all this growth for Disney, but I saved the company. Look how wonderful I am." And if it doesn't, he's got his fall guy. This guy, Bob Iger, has been rich for so long, he has no idea how common folk think. Look at the prices. Look at the prices when you go to Disney. Regular people have to save up tons of money to go to Disney parks. Tons of money to go. Look at the book that Bob Iger put out. His complete disconnect from everyone. Look at what he said about Lucas. We screwed him over. We screwed him over. Like it was nonchalant. He doesn't give a shit. This dude doesn't give a shit. He's playing, and Sporkin's right. He's playing a next level game because he's up there on the next level financially. He saw this virus coming. He dipped out before all this went bad. And somebody had to tap him on the shoulder. One of his assistants, one of his ball washers, had to tap him on the shoulder and say, "Hey, you might want to get in there and save the company before you get blamed for this collapse." Well, that's the only reason he's in there.
Don't forget, Steven, and I don't know the evidence on this one with Bob, but I know in the last few months prior to the coronavirus, a shitload of CEOs stepped down. I mean, a shitload. And what they were doing, I believe, my speculation once again, is they were stepping down because there are so many rules and regulations of them selling their stocks. A lot of them stepped down and then sold a shit ton of their own company's stocks. So when they knew this was about to crash, they lost nothing.
I mean, it wasn't just them. It was also people in the government that did the same thing.
My
question is, are they gonna come down on the people? Are they gonna come down on those that work for the people that did the same thing? That scares me. In the private sector, I expect that.
Oh, they played the game.
I expect that. I expect insider trading. I expect the kind of bullshit from these rich elites that don't give a shit about anybody, their moms or their kids. But the people in the government, the senators, the Congress people that did that, those are the ones I want to see the hammer fall on.
And I've been watching that. There was 4 of them that they've really brought to the light, and 2 of them deserve to be brought to court. And seriously, there could be jail time because what they did was heinous, man. They went into a meeting, they found out the information, they left that meeting and told their constituents everything is fine while they were selling their stocks behind their backs. That is the most reprehensible thing you could do when you work for the people.
You have people in governmental structures and top tier corporate infrastructures that have been working globally. I mean, that are in the know, like you said earlier, that knew China was lying about the figures, that knew this thing was going to get bigger than China was trying to say, and so they were isolating themselves. They were preparing for this. Cash out now, get your money, hold on it, wait till everything gets cheap, and then buy it up. Look at Disney stock. Disney stock has dropped like $80, guys. I mean, it's.
Shit is dirt cheap. If you could buy stock right now, it's a smart time to start getting in.
It is right. Yeah. It is absolutely a smart time to buy stock, and that's why they cashed out. And then they're gonna. I mean, look, don't hate the player, hate the game. But I don't trust any of those players.
No, I hear you.
Yeah, Paladin makes a good point. There are a ton. Sorry, Immortal. Go ahead.
I was just going to echo your words. I'll just read the thing, and then you can carry on with your thought. More CEOs stepped down in 6 months than in the 6 months after the last big crisis. And I'm thinking he's meaning this 6 months. Than
he's right.
Even Business Insider wrote about it. Go ahead, Final.
No, yeah, I was just going to say that there have been an amazing amount of CEOs that stepped down. Now, the reasons behind that are all, it differs, and there's all kind of theories on the why. But I mean, I think it's clear that these people of these high positions were in the know in one way or another that this was coming. You know, it just surprises me that Bob Iger's taking his chances, because I understand, you know, kind of, Stephen, what you were saying, like he'd come back in now and try to save the thing in his arrogance, but I actually would have thought he would have thought that he has a better chance staying out of it, letting it fall to Chapek, and, you know, blaming him, saying, hey, look, I got out, you know, when I got out, I was ready, I did all this stuff, I'd worked there enough, and that the public would buy that over the risk that he, you know, puts himself in if this doesn't turn around.
The public would have bought that had the bad news been given in small doses. Had there been no virus, over the next year, we would have seen the continual decline of Disney stock, a slow, continual decline, and disinterest in these IPs that they've bought. I mean, they're not handling Fox properly. And they're already censoring movies on Disney Plus. I mean, come on, come on, right? So there's going to be there was already going to be a slow decline of interest, and Chapek was going to be the fall guy. No matter if they weathered it or not, he was going to be the fall guy. Whether they could get Star Wars back on its feet, which is like a dead franchise at the moment, with the exception of The Mandalorian. You know, whether or not Marvel moving forward would be any good, whether they're going to take the correct steps in order to make sure that franchise is financially successful continually. I mean, right now they're on a high, but who knows what the next phase is going to bring with the type of talk and rhetoric that we've been getting out of these creatives over there at Marvel. So, I mean, just that he would have had time to just disappear. Oh, I remember Bob Iger. Yeah, he was around when they bought this one and this one. They got Star Wars and they did this. I remember him. Who, you know, and then they'll look at Chapek and go, well, damn, you know, he was given the keys to the kingdom and everything fell apart. Because normies don't pay attention to a lot of this. Only investors do. Right. People who cover pop culture and media pay attention to this. But now that the virus is here, everything is exasperated. Look at the news that we got coming about AMC. Them going to be filing for bankruptcy. A lot of businesses are being hurt, especially in the entertainment industry, who depend on a constant flow of cash in order to keep investors interested, in order to keep showing profit margins. They don't have that right now. So everything's getting exposed. Everything's being exposed. Everything's being exasperated. So all of the failures of the past are going to just be front and center, and you're not going to be able to get rid of them. That on top of there's nothing else to really talk about in pop culture and entertainment news except for what's been happening, because nothing's happening at the moment, really. Right. So he has no choice. He has no choice at this point but to step into that role again and weather the storm. And if it's successful, he's going to be like, yay, me, look what I did. I'm the best. His ball washer is going to be patting him going, yeah, like a ripe tomato. You did so good, boss. You did so good. And then, you know, and then Chapek, you know.
So, Stephen, it's also his idea that if he comes back when the tide is starting to turn and he saves Disney, brings it back to somewhat of respectable level again, not talking about their product, just the stocks, he could use that in his, I'm going to, I don't know, you know, run for office. And this is what I did. I saved one of the largest corporations in the world, you know?
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's going to be a point that he'll throw out if he goes for a presidential bid. No doubt. But the virus that cannot be named has thrown a loop to a lot of different industries. And this is why I keep bringing up how the entertainment industry is going to bounce back from this. I honestly think, and I mentioned this on the High Council last night, that this virus and everything, the shakeups that it has created, the exasperation of all of the faults, the cracks in the system. I mean, look at the comic book industry right now. All right, this is not the right time to have Snowflake and Safe Space and Gotham High. You got these SJWs in the entertainment industry that are like quadrupling down by this point. Let's face it, they've been doubling down for years. They're quadrupling down on their bullshit that nobody wants to buy. They've been covering these things up with fake numbers and fake percentages for so long. You can't do that now. You can't do that now. I understand that the Hollywood's a big machine and the things that have already been in production are going to move forward, and we're still going to get so many SJW films before entertainment turns around and starts making a product for the customer. But until then, while we're dealing with this dead space, how far is it going to fall? Is this it? Is this the end of SJW culture just due to the conditions of, at this point in time, when everything reopens, there'll be a burst Everybody will go run to the theater or run and buy whatever, entertainment mediums they like. There is going to be a burst of activity, but then everyone's going to think about what they've been reading and watching and hearing during this dead period.
During lockdown, when you have nothing else to do.
Exactly. Well, and so I think that this is actually going to fast forward the demise of SJW culture, of this social justice bullshit.
You know what it'll bring it down, though, to Steven? It'll bring it down to, I don't know, Palpatine at the beginning of this last movie. It'll be beaten down, but it'll find something to suck away the life of two men, a man and a woman, bringing them into one being that's a Z. Because
why is it got to be a man and a woman, Scott? Why are you being an istophobe, man? Why can't they be the non-binary person?
It was the dyad, motherfucker.
I'm just saying.
What I'm saying is this, though. Think about it.
Why can't it be like the guy on Enemy Mine who could have babies himself? I mean,
well, what about the Orville? Two men that have babies, and if it's a female, they kill it. Oh, they change it
with or without the mustache.
Without.
Okay.
Yeah. Then they're aliens, so
it gotta have standards.
It's okay.
And sponsored by Philip Morris.
Yeah, of course. I can't quit you. No, but what gets me is this, and these SJWs, I think you're right, Steven, they're feeling the death ring, and they are tripling down. Mm-hmm. They are coming out with videos attacking white males. I mean, that broad who does, and I said broad because she is a broad that did the She-Hulk, the one that's doing She-Hulk.
Hey, that dame.
That dame. That hooch. She's not
that bad.
Yeah, she's nonstop, dude. Yeah. She's nonstop. She just keeps saying stuff to keep her 15 minutes of fame. And what she doesn't realize, and you put it perfectly, Steven, in this climate and in this time where everyone is forced to go online to find entertainment and to keep themselves from going stir crazy, all they're seeing is them attack us. And when I mean us, people that are not in their bubble, and us not really attacking back, just pointing out their hypocrisy, and I think that's the best thing we could have done.
Well, and it sounds like most people, we go to work, we go to the store, we have this sense of reality, and then this like tiny little I don't want to say insignificant, but like a vocal part of Twitter who has been raised on Twitter wants to instill the sense of normalcy in everybody else's brain. Like, oh, you're just finding this out. It's always been this way.
Right.
The sky has been blue or, green, whatever.
Final, how much would you offer somebody to wash your balls, like a professional ball washer, if you were rich enough?
I think that would be like a weekly salary.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Would you get unemployment for that right now if there weren't any balls?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I mean, would you be like sitting on the corner, like with a cardboard sign, and like you're outstretching your hand with like a wash?
No, like a little golf ball bucket with water and soap in it.
Yeah, brush. It's like I got 3 kids. I will wash your balls.
I do believe though that, and I'll let you answer, Final, but I think that is not a salary-based job. I think that would be more like a masseuse where you pay for the session.
Oh, so you're an independent contractor?
Yeah, I would think so.
Yeah, that probably makes sense.
I'm saying I would ask for a shave. I would like in one of them little towels.
Oh no, if you're
when they clean balls, behind. That's what I would want.
Like you'd ask him to shave your boys. Is that what you're saying?
You're fucking right. I would. I mean, and I want designs. I want the Abe Lincoln.
Oh, I want the Vanilla Ice.
Word.
Like instead of my eyebrows, it's my pubes.
It's to the extreme. You know what I mean?
I rock a mic like a van.
I want the Gonzo.
The Gonzo.
Well, and so like that would seem like it would be like a silent portion of your entourage where you're like, blah 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 blah. Come along, ball washer. And you just
he's right in front.
Off to the stage or left.
I don't know. He's right in front, walking backwards in front of me at all times.
And I just want everybody out there to understand this is what Savage Edition is. We went from talking global politics and CEOs to ball washing.
That's right.
That's what Savage Edition is. That's why Immortal Coil is in charge.
Well, we're hoping to make this like a regular Wednesday thing. Once upon a time, in our high glory, but we're reinvented now. So
yes, we are reinvented, brother.
With ball washers.
With ball washers.
With ball washers.
That should be my Patreon.
Who would be your ball washer? Would you have a female or a male?
No, I want a small Asian man.
Because they would know how. Well, I don't know about Asian, but I would want someone who knows how to shave my nuts. Like it's not the same genitalia. So I don't want
You need someone with experience.
Yeah,
they've been there. They've been there. They know the area. They know the real estate down there.
Like a
And
metro.
could you imagine like you're conducting an interview and you're like, so I understand you want the position, and they're like, yes, I'm very excited.
Absolutely.
And you have to introduce your perspective to your familiar.
Oh no, you don't have to. No, you don't have to do shit. You walk into that bitch like you're wearing pants. Ball washer right there.
Right.
That's it. You go to McDonald's, ball washer right there.
Right.
Oh,
Is it like? Do they have like a little machine like on the golf course? Where you put the golf ball in and you just
No,
Or
see,
like
I'm
a
a
bowling alley, like a bowling alley where you walk in and it's like, and you're like, okay, I can do this.
No way, dude. I want a classic like shoe shine guy.
Absolutely.
Who's like, I put my nuts on his box and he just, takes his wow, that's
Whips
not
out the little,
he takes the little thing and whips it, and I'm like, a little game replay.
Yeah, like an old school barber.
Yeah, with the razor. I want a straight edge razor. If you slip, I kill you.
So Arsenio Hall and Eddie Murphy, they're your ball washers, and they're just sitting around talking shit, and
I don't know.
then your balls are clean.
How? What?
I got that. I got that coming to America.
Thank you, Final Death Star.
The
Cultural entertainment
Queen, Your
expert.
Highness.
The royal
in our midst.
is queen, man. That slipped right by me because all I could think of was McDowell's or McDonald, whatever it is. They have the golden arches. We have the golden arch.
You know that there is a McDowell. I have to go to it. I was supposed to take a pilgrimage with my friend Shanice.
Where?
We were going to go in New York.
I used to live by the building that they used to film McDowell's. It was actually a Burger King. It was in Queens, and I lived in Queens for a couple of years, and I lived like blocks from the actual building they used. Now that wasn't a McDowell's. I mean, it was a Burger King. They closed down, and
right.
They used it.
Can I say something?
But the building is still there.
Final, I've realized, I don't know how you got into our little cultured group here, but you are an almighty hipster. You got the hipster glasses. You live in Queens. Now you live in like LA. You are such a hipster, dude.
You don't understand. He's
got a hot Asian wife. Look at you, man.
You know what? I'm the original hipster. I'm before all the fake hipsters started to copy my shit. Like I was wearing fedora hats before it was popular in New York, before anyone was wearing them. I was growing a mustache out before anyone else did it because I freaking was watching a lot of Magnum PI. I'm like, you know what? No one wears mustaches anymore. And then now, a few years later, everyone's wearing fedoras. Everyone's growing mustaches. I'm like, it's not even cool anymore.
And you moved out of Queens before it became hipster village.
This is a facade. All right. Final is a shot.
Yeah, it was the story before it was hipster.
Final is a shot caller. All right.
He
That's
is.
why he's got an Asian wife and he's loaded.
That's
all
right.
Because he was calling shots in
Trendsetter.
Queens and now he's in LA running groups.
Yeah, he's not even
groups.
OG hipster. He's just OG.
Yeah,
Well, and
that's
there's
right.
all these like lame Death Stars running around, and you've seen them. They're the Kmart kind with the
Right.
spray on,
The copy
Right.
trippy, like spoogey kind of things coming off the
Like
bottom.
people
No,
who pretend
this
like
is the
they're-
final.
The final
Yeah.
Death Star. He's not the circus
Final.
Death Star.
That's right.
That's right. He's not
Final
the hipster Death Star.
Final
He ain't
Death
no
Star
simp.
He's not a simping Death Star. That's
He's
right.
not a simp.
Death Star.
Final Death Star doesn't have to use other people's names and tags to make themselves famous. Okay, he is the original. He is the OG. He is Final Death Star. If you need to steal people's tags, you got an issue, bro.
Yeah,
He walks in a
amen.
room and everybody knows his balls have been freshly coiffed.
Yeah, no,
He has
balls
his
are-
own
Yeah.
washer. He's
You
the
can
final
see your
Death Star.
reflection off of his.
Oh yeah, you could
You
comb
can
your
eat
hair
off
in
his
the
fucking
machine.
testicles.
And they're as shiny as the Death Star floor.
Now you guys are younger. Have you ever gotten a gray one? Because that took me by surprise.
Oh
No,
yeah.
not
And mine have
yet.
button chops at the moment.
I was thinking of going for the mullet looked,
Oh.
Yeah.
I was
See how
gonna.
that
I have to be honest. When
Gonna get
women
the Joe
started-
Dirt.
in the
Joe
90s,
Dirt.
well, in the 90s when women started to do the landing patch, I did
Oh, yeah.
I did a mohawk.
Hey,
Solidarity, man. I've been down with the ladies for years, man. I represent.
wouldn't that stick like Velcro? I mean, were they long?
Together.
Hey,
I
One meets the other, they just stick.
like
did
peel-
it like
it'd be
more
like
like
peeling a CD case.
well, it was more like a faux hawk. It kind of went from short to to point. So yeah, there was issues sometimes, but you know what? I don't want to talk about that.
Well,
might
this
be a
whole
lawsuit
thing, like,
still going on.
when did manscaping become the norm? Because, like, you know,
When Bob Iger became CEO of Disney.
when Bob Iger came back, look how clean shaven this motherfucker looks.
Well, he's got a ball washer.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
and I bet, like, inside of a Tony Stark suit there, Bob Iger was like, why don't you go ahead and install just like a full-on, mannequin job?
You know, he has an actual Tony Stark suit that like really works, that he just walks around his house in.
Dude, this dude wears his grandmother's fucking shower cap and walks around in a towel. Doesn't give a fuck. Probably talks some boo-boo noises to his plants. He's fucking so rich, he doesn't give a shit.
Right. He
What
goes
you or
bosom
I
buddies
think.
on that ass.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's probably him in that suit.
He fucking
Right.
rubs himself in melted butter. He doesn't give a shit.
Dude, can you imagine being that wealthy?
And just
That-
wipe your ass with $100 bills.
I would have a ball washer. That's what we're talking about. I would be like the final Death Star.
We're imagining it right now.
Not the midway Death Star. Not the peanut butter dragon Death Star. The final Death Star. I would have a ball washer.
Yeah.
What the fuck's a peanut butter dragon Death Star? I like it though.
That's somebody who writes articles for the Mary Sue about, genitals being confused
Right.
over 73 cartoons.
Peanut butter, genitals. Peanut butter, and genitals. I remember that. That was the other night. Okay, I'm with you. Maybe we should try to wrap this back into what we were talking about.
Yeah, fuck Bob Iger, right?
Well, I know. Fuck him.
So this guy is a fool. I think everybody knows it.
Douche.
You guys have that itchy baka thing that I sent into the
Oh, here, I'll pull that up. I got that.
Yeah, why don't you do something?
Ricky
Yeah,
Baca gave
might
me
as well
a big
try
one.
it.
I took some pills, cleared it right up.
with your shiny ass balls.
I got to give Palanuki a shout out. He might be the only one that's not us in the chat right now, and I love
That's
him. for it.
awesome. Throw him a link.
Yeah,
you got
Palanuki.
a headset, Palanuki?
Yeah, right. Come on home.
There he goes. It's so hipster to be a hipster before the hipsters were hipster.
That is your tagline. Final
I know. I like that.
Yeah.
final Death
That's a
Star.
great one.
No hipster to be a hipster before the hipsters. I like it.
Hipster be a hipster before the hipsters. All right, here's the
In an era before the hipsters, there existed one man, one desire. We're gonna make the final Death Star like movie trailer.
Yeah.
And you have to turn around final and you have to be like,
take
"No,
off my
I'm
glasses,
ready."
my hipster glasses.
Yeah.
Take off a pair of hipster sunglasses and put my hipster eyeglasses
The
on.
Death Star's got to be like hairy and unshaven. It's
No, even
as it
better.
comes
Final.
down.
He's back on. He wants that, dude. He has some fetish.
I'm so down for that.
It's
But
all
final,
intense.
you
Like
need
you
to, like-
unzip your fly and somebody goes, no.
No, Final needs to like take off his sunglasses and just have hipster glasses underneath it.
Yeah, underneath. Yeah.
Totally. Just one more pair of glasses. One more pair
Yeah.
of glasses.
Or like go Tony Stark
God.
and the fedora flips onto your head. God,
Okay.
The
So-
fuck are we talking about now? Oh,
Oh,
Jesus
this
Christ.
article breaks my heart.
do you
That
know I
man
haven't
has
read
no
this yet?
fucking lips.
It
I haven't
breaks
read
my
it
heart.
yet. I haven't read it yet
I
because
read it. So
first of all, he's
disappointing.
a
Well,
Pittsburgh.
so
boy.
we're building
Yeah.
towards something, but Steven, you're very familiar with this article as of last night, apparently. So why don't you give us the brief?
All right, you guys were
rundown
talking
and-
about this.
I don't want to
Yeah.
talk about this because Lethal Lightning's been on Twitter smacking people down, and so's Ryan Kennel. Fuck those guys. Fuck them. All right, they don't have ball washers. They're too low class to have ball washers.
Why are
And
they
they've
knocking
been
it down?
smacking people around because they've been so
They've been saying this
anti-Floridian
forever. Yeah.
Yeah.
for
They've been saying
so
this forever.
long. God forbid them EU cats. Oh my God.
Yeah.
So Filoni.
I was a Filoni apologist for the
Well, could
longest
someone
time. I mean,
tell me
but I think for reason because he did some damn good stuff
All right.
until recently.
This is what I'm thinking about Dave full of shit. Dave full of shit. I think that in order for him to work in the position that he has been working, surrounded and inundated by SJWs, that he has had to make certain talking points. He's had to repeat certain words and mantras that these people want to hear. And I believe that that's where these quotes came from. I'm hoping I'm not apologizing for the guy, right? Because yeah, I've been praying. I've been praying for somebody to replace Kathleen Kennedy, and so is almost the entire fandom, except for the weirdos that get turned on by cartoon foxes. The Raylos. Yeah, I've been like, give Dave Filoni the keys. He can't do worse than Kathleen Kennedy, and honestly, I don't think he would do worse than Kathleen Kennedy. But yeah, these quotes are very suspect.
What are the
very?
Here's one I highlighted here.
There's a potential idea there about matriarchy coming back and subverting. Oh, their fucking word! What has always been dominantly patriarchal and male heroes, Zeus, Hercules, and anything else. Fuck you, Dave. Listen. The fandom.
Is this out of context?
This is a back and forth conversation here. You can see more of it at the bottom.
John Knoll says the super fighting set up in Empire. That boy is our only hope. No, there is another. I felt cheated in Jedi that this really didn't go anywhere. But maybe Yoda was talking about what happens he was talking about the fucking future, you moron. Yeah, he read fucking 20 years in the future. These idiots at Lucasfilm really make me want to fucking stab their ball washers.
Do they not understand what
the thing is, Obi-Wan clearly says when Yoda dies, Luke says, Yoda spoke of another. Obi-Wan clearly says the other he spoke of was your twin sister.
Right.
And he answers the question right there.
Right.
There's no maybe he was talking about this. Maybe Yoda was really. No, he wasn't. Obi-Wan says he was talking about your sister.
He was talking about Palpatine.
These are people that do not understand basic fucking story elements. That was set up so that you can have the realization that Leia is Luke's sister. So at the final fight, what makes Luke tap into the dark side was the thought of protecting his sister.
Right.
Luke would have been killed. Luke would have let himself be killed in that situation to turn his father. But once Darth Vader said, "I'll go get your sister." You're right. I forget
I'll trade if you want her to the dark side, then perhaps she will.
She will, right? And then Luke taps into the dark side, whips his fucking ass. All right, that's what that was setting up. That was setting up that story. It had nothing to do with subverting matriarchal expectation. Blah blah blah. Listen, if these jackoffs, these repurposers, these untalented hacks at
the very
Disney
definition of retcon.
Had any fucking idea what they were doing, they would have given us Mara Jade, Jaina Solo. You didn't have to go by you could have made EU Legends. That's fine. Take some of the story elements that were proven that people loved and give us those strong female characters. You had plenty of stories where you had women characters in the EU that were strong in the main saga, including Leia. Leia was still prominent there. Did she get Jedi training? Yes, but then she decided that she needed to be a politician more than she needed to be a Jedi, and so that's the direction that she went in. So all this flying through space bullshit, making Leia more powerful than Luke, just all of this bullshit, all of it was created by these repurposers who don't give a goddamn about Star Wars. They don't give a damn about what they're working with. They only have a socio-political agenda to press. So when Filoni says this type of shit, I am thinking, from my mind, you're in an atmosphere full of SJWs, untalentless hacks, and you have to keep your job. What do you do? I mean, it really doesn't paint a good picture for Filoni, because either you're also an uncreative hack or you're a sellout.
Well, and I'd like to find some pictures of Dave Filoni making the same face that Mark Hamill made when he was sitting next to Rian Johnson while he was running his suck.
Well, yeah, I mean, you've got the people that have hated Filoni, and they have their reasons for it. You can have your opinion. Lethal Lightning, Ryan.
But they're deep into that lore, and I understand why they hold it against him. But for more casual fans of not even casual fans, of diehards of just the films, which exist, he took a story and he developed something with Lucas involved. So you can't really, even though Lucas wanted certain things done and Filoni went against it, it worked for him at that time. Now,
let's also understand George has never made every great creative decision when it comes to Star Wars.
He's always had someone that
he's had oversight. Yeah,
he had oversight.
Or an editor, someone that,
except in the prequels,
right?
He didn't have that oversight.
Even the original, he had to bring in another editor.
He had high blood pressure after episode 4, and then he had to hand it off because he couldn't just
look. George creates created an awesome universe, and that he loves, and though that's like his kids, you know, and I get that. But there have been a lot of other people involved in Star Wars that have helped to shape and mold certain.
I mean, have you guys seen that documentary, How Star Wars Was Saved in the Edits?
Yes,
No,
a lot of that was thanks to his wife. It's on YouTube. It's like maybe
Marcia.
20 minutes. It's a fantastic. It shows what his original storyline was and how they changed things in the final version in the editing of it, which made for a much more dramatic. Like the end didn't have the Death Star coming towards Yavin 4. It just had them going off to take it out. You know, there was no threat of like they had to do this because they were about to be threatened by extinction.
Right.
There was
so much
a couple of
really added. It's really a great documentary.
There was a couple of hack editors who made it really seem like and forgive me, it's a great movie, but the cheesier elements of Dune, where you can tell it's a blue screen. It's like Luke sitting there flying against something that's clearly a movie projector, and he's in his speeder, but and he's sitting there talking to C-3PO about something asinine instead of just getting to the meat of the bone. So. Right. Really, his wife and 2 other editors whose names escaped me, which sucks because everybody won Oscars for that. Really pulled it together, and then the music and, geez, everybody loves A New Hope.
Right.
You know, it makes all this shit so much more incensing.
And you want to see something cool. And I know that Steven just pretty much found him, but I've been watching Critical Drinker for over a year now, and he does the last 2. He did The Last Jedi and The Force Awakens. He does a fix. 2 videos. Watch them. They are so his story. Again, if someone edited and didn't go with the first effing draft of The Last Jedi, and someone looked up and said this is horrible, and just had someone like him saying, "Why don't we try this story?" The story he creates, he doesn't change a lot in the movie, but he changes the principle and the reasoning behind it. Freaking awesome, man. So editors do save movies, man. Editors take a vision and say, well, your vision's great, but we got to make it more for the people. Like, they won't understand why you're going, like you just said, 20 minutes talking to C-3PO on a speed. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
pacing things out, cutting things, pacing them, putting scenes together in a certain way that tells a more direct story. I mean, you can save a lot of the slow kind of build-ups and get right to the meat and potatoes of it. But
movies are weird. A movie is less than 3 hours, and you have to hit the nail every time. So it's not like a book. Like George R.R. Martin wrote his books for Song of Ice and Fire, like Game of Thrones. He wrote it so it would be impossible to film it. That was his vision, because he was so sick and tired of Hollywood. And then when they ended up making it amazing the first 1 or 2 seasons, or maybe 4. And but they had to already cut out aspects that I loved in the books right off the rip, but look what happens once that visionary's out of the program. George stepped back in Star Wars. The other George stepped back in Game of Thrones, and they both went to shit.
Well, and it's completely ridiculous, the idea that in order to fully grok and fullness the movie, that you have to necessarily have all these ancillary addendums. So you have to buy the comic book, you have to buy the novel, you have to buy the pamphlet, you have to, you know what I mean? Yeah. You buy a ticket, you take a ride. You shouldn't have to stop and ask for directions.
Speaking of riding and asking for directions, has nothing to do with it. I'm going to be on K-Log's channel later.
Oh, nice.
And I said, K-Log, what are the topics?
Hail trans fat.
Hail trans fat. What do you want me to do? Like, what are the topics? And he said, write a list of 10 women that you think are hot in science fiction. And I'm like, all right. And I'm thinking to myself, but what do I consider hot? Topless scenes. So I'm actually going to have to make sure that all of my picks have given us tits. All right, K-Log? And I think that really matters, especially
sci-fi and fantasy, or just sci-fi.
I think he just said sci-fi, but
because I'm telling you, watch the first season of Game of Thrones. Emily Clark.
Amelia
emerging from fire.
Those breasts deserve a correct pronunciation.
Dude, that ass deserves the correct pronunciation.
And you know what? The thing about
going
Amelia Clark,
into the tub.
The thing about Amelia Clark is that she got prudish on us toward the end. I didn't appreciate that. But
there's some conflicting evidence on that one too.
but
it wasn't really all her.
But she gave us nudity when she was young and tight. So I'm happy. I'm not gonna diss her.
And I think you'll actually forgive her even more. That has been something going around that she even said, I never put that in a contract.
Oh, really? Say, okay, K-Log said sci-fi fantasy is cool. That really helps to open up the scope.
Then Amelia Clark has to be on that.
Because breasts, all right, full tit. That means a lot to me when I'm judging the hotness of sci-fi women.
Now I was just going to say Species. I have it pulled up here, actually. Natasha Henstridge. It's so funny you said that because I actually have that on my screen right now.
Look at us. We're starting to combine our thoughts.
I know.
Oh, yeah. If you say her name one more time, I hope she appears.
Oh, yes. Beetlejuice it.
All right. Back to other women. Dave Filoni says, I love that. We should shift it so Leia is the Obi-Wan of the entire trilogy. You sackless fucking soy boy. Are you kidding me? This is the part that really cements any kind of betrayal to me.
Obi-Wan of the...
What are you fucking talking about, you goddamn loony? What are you... Do you have a ball washer? Are you legit? That's my question. It's dangerous because it makes it about the women of Star Wars. Something to me says that's right. This is
I was wondering, Steven, can you read this in his actual voice? Can you do a good like Dave Filoni impression?
I don't know if I can do it. No, because you know what? I've been praising Filoni for the last 2 years.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
And now we find out that he's wearing a skirt. I don't know.
So I might have evidence to support your hypothesis that he finds himself in a hostile work environment, and that he might have to toe a little bit of the company line and maybe get manscaped and indoctrinated. So if you guys, one of you can pull up the "Why was an Asian male" in the thread.
My ball washer?
Where? Oh, okay, I got it.
You got it. So
you know what though? But he's actually saying, like, that's more than
he's saying
the line. He's diving deep.
Yeah, that's full on.
How could Leia be Obi-Wan? She never became a Jedi.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I understand that Rey had no one else to train her. So I don't believe I'm even going here, but I understood the idea. Okay, someone that at least has had some training is trying to help her, but to consider her the Obi-Wan, a master Jedi who has been a Jedi for 5 decades at least.
Listen,
and I want to kill everybody.
This is what you do. This is the equivalent of what these motherfuckers were trying to say. You take a football player, right? You take a football player who's been a football player for a decade, all right? And then you make him the hero of a cross-country race. Doesn't make any fucking sense. That's a football player. That person plays football. Has nothing to do with running cross-country. Nothing the fuck at all. Can it perform cross-country? Yes, but it's not going to do very fucking well. And then instead, this is what they did with Leia. Who was Leia? Leia was was a rebel leader. A rebel leader and a politician, raised as a politician. Did she, okay, does she have the Force? Yes, because of her lineage, she has that ability. But she's not running cross fucking country, asshole. She's not a Jedi master. All right. Now there was time that you could make the argument that you could make her a Jedi master, that Luke could have trained her for several days, but Luke popped out. Luke dipped. Luke was on Octu, giving up and shit, according to Disney.
And we also found out from the Rise of Skywalker when they do the flashback scene, with them training. So you see Leia start to train, but they make it very clear that she stopped because she was afraid that, Ben Solo is going to go to the dark side, which I never understood. I don't know, why would that make her stop training? Right. I think if anything, I would want to continue training. Hey, make sure I'm the mother. Let me train. Let me become a master so I know I can guide my son. Like, why would she? Oh my God, my son's going to turn evil. I'm not going to study the Force anymore. Like that makes no sense to me.
You're trying to make sense out of Soy Wars, man.
Steven, you just try to make sense out of it, because don't forget, in The Force Awakens, he left a clue of how to find him. In Last Jedi, he didn't want anybody ever to find him. He wanted to die. And then in Rise of Skywalker, he was actually on a mission that made him go there and still wanted people to find him. So I'm all fucking confused.
Well, and also they've basically changed what the Force is. You know, you remember the Freddie Prinze Jr. thing. The Force is just going to do what it wants to do, you know, so that's why Leia is able to fly through space, because the Force just shows it's doing it. It's not Leia's training, it's just the Force. You know, they've changed everything about training.
Right.
Well, and that's what makes me curious about the time frame on this Ichibaka article. And let's hail Ichibaka.
Hail
Ichibaka.
Hail Ichibaka.
Providing us this thing.
The true author of the fandom. Oh, I'm sorry.
You want to
Well, but so the idea is maybe this meeting took place during the Mandalorian, prior to the or was it like way before, when all these movies were just an idea?
From the terminology, I don't know about the timeline, but from the terminology being used, I would say this is before The Last Jedi.
I would say that too.
All right, you throw that word subversion in there. Ain't nobody. There wasn't anybody saying that fucking word until Rian Johnson showed up on the scene.
Ruined a word I didn't even know.
I didn't even know that word. Didn't even know what the hell that meant. I mean, I'm sure that we've seen it before in different movies, on different types of entertainment media.
Well, we all understood what subversion was. Like, oh my God, I didn't expect that to happen at the end. The clown is the fucking rapist.
Right, but then Rian Johnson, what? But then Rian Johnson shows up and just puts his brick in Star Wars, his little tiny smidgen, you know, his little guy, and he just put it inside Star Wars and made it Soy Wars and gave us subversion. This exploded subversion all over the place and destroyed it. So to me, when I hear Filoni saying that, that sounds like Ryan's prick might have been somewhere in the vicinity of Dave's mouth, and that exploded out, that idea of subversion.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
All right, boys, I got to bounce out. I got to bounce out. I
Scott has to go get his balls washed.
Well, I mean, you can get them washed while you're online.
I'm hoping. Yeah, that's not going to happen. It's like 4 nights in a row of me streaming. It's time to
look. He's been streaming this entire time with filthy.
He's got to go lay
balls.
Pipe. All right, you go lay pipe.
So just remember, everybody, watch us Saturday on Stephen Walton's channel, The Fourth Wave. Sir. We have the Fandom Menace channel. Noah is going to be on.
Yes, Noah Hale.
Yep, Tom from Midnight's Edge. So
Tom Hale.
Please make sure you guys are there. Hopefully see you boys there. And
absolutely.
Monday nights at about 7:15 Eastern, my Game of Thrones Winds of Winter prediction stream with Stig Kenobi and According to Christie, and our book club on May 11th starts. Read at least the first 5 to 6 chapters in a Game of Thrones, and you won't be left behind. So
you don't want to expose your behind to Scott.
Not at all, because I am a freak.
He will clean those balls.
Just quick like a predator.
From behind.
What was I? How does it go? I'm a freak.
Something like
without warning. My something is so something. Me so horny. Me so horny. Me so horny.
Creeps in on the down low.
Oh my God. What an asshole. Thank God he's gone.
Now the real conversation can begin.
Now the men can talk.
Now that the kids are out of the room. So, okay, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and pull this up because there we go. Here's my thing, and this is what I was thinking when we were watching or listening to the High Council last night, where this idea of Dave Filoni getting boxed into a room. Now, I'm not saying he's 100% guilty of these thoughts, but perhaps because he created Ahsoka Tano, right? So we know he's into something like that.
I like female characters too.
George Lucas is
one of my favorites.
Strong female characters, blah blah blah. But what I'm saying, and I alluded to this, if everybody would care to click on my Ahsoka Vasquez video, towards the end, I hypothesize, I sort of go off on a limb and say, well, Dave Filoni's ideas, he had them mapped out in a cinematic, right? Like it wasn't polished. I don't know if any voices were added. Do you guys know?
Are you talking about like before he on the original run of it?
Season 7 was more or less in the can, but it was killed as soon as Disney bought it.
Well, Yeah, he had because I went to Star Wars Celebration a few years ago and sat through the Clone Wars panel, and it was when he was coming up with Rebels, but he decided to show footage that had been rendered to a degree. The voice acting was not there. It hadn't been finished, but they were the lost episodes of the Clone Wars. So you had some of the Bad Batch stuff. You had so you had some Ahsoka stuff. You had some stuff with Asajj Ventress being a bounty hunter. She had like a punk haircut, and that was none of it was finished. It was just early. Yeah, it was just early rendering.
Okay, have you seen season 7? Have you seen like the Bad Batch and the?
I've watched the Bad
Batch. I watched the first 2 episodes.
The Colombian coffee story.
I watched the first 2 episodes, and it wasn't that I didn't finish them because I didn't like them. It was that I like to wait, honestly, until something's over so I can just binge it.
Yeah, sure.
And then I started, I pay attention to Phantom Menace. I pay attention to Phantom Menace news, to what they're saying, and cool. I'm hearing reverberations of SJWs. But then I got that picture of those gay women. I don't know. The ugly ones. I don't know.
Are they gay? Is that
not me, bro? Those haircuts scream gay to me. I don't know. They're weird. Like the only thing that was missing was blue haired and a Mary Sue article.
Pretty much, they're hip and with its sisters. And if you haven't seen the video, basically Ahsoka falls down one of the holes in Coruscant. Now, if you remember the Battle of Coruscant, this is a city planet, and it has like deep fucking things cut into.
Yeah, there's an underworld down there.
There's substructures. So she's like, fuck the Jedi, and she's wiping her tears, and she crashes her bike and falls down one of these holes and finds 2 Latina sisters who have the sides of their head shaved, and they're hip with it.
Yeah, so she
finds two SJWs, but and it's not the fact that they're Latina, it's that they have Latina last names, right? So Star Wars has historically had last name formulas, right? It's not Anakin Stewart Smith, it's Anakin Skywalker, right? It's not Mace Robinson, it's Mace Windu.
Yeah, okay? Obi-Wan Kenobi.
She falls down a hole and finds Mortezes who have Latin heritage and speak like somebody from the Bronx. Okay. Now,
oh fuck! It's garbage. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I know. Steven's actually crying. So, and this is the thing. This is what led me to believe that 2012 is when the buyout happened, and season 7 was in some sort of nebulous state, not quite finished, but not ready, but it was there. Like they had the episodes. Right. Yeah.
Pre-SJW era. Yeah.
Pre-SJW. And then that got shit canned, and Dave Filoni's like, well, I guess I have to work on cartoons that are computer generated and look like anime, But what we find out is that after the success of The Mandalorian, which I think the audience was surprised by, because we were just like so blasé. We're cynical motherfuckers at this point. We got our armor up. We're like, look, you hurt me once. I'm not gonna let you hurt me twice.
We're abused spouses.
You know what?
You've been beating us for years.
Time to walk away from the abuse.
That's right.
Exactly.
That's right.
And then,
you can stand up for yourself. You can walk out of there.
We're in a protected house called the Phantom Menace.
And then we saw The Mandalorian, and I think a lot of us were like, oh, okay. Maybe a little bit. And I'm not saying everything was golden. There is some shit in The Mandalorian, but like the good stuff in The Mandalorian was pretty good.
Yeah, I like The Mandalorian. I'm not gonna lie.
Right. Yeah. It's enough to make us go, okay. All right.
Right.
And like kind of like open up a little bit.
The ability is there. The ability to create something that looks and feels like Star Wars is there. And I think a lot of that comes from Favreau.
Yeah. Right? Now, what I wonder if Filoni, because, he's not a Favreau, he doesn't have the power or the pull of Favreau. I wonder if these comments, when they were taken, because if they were taken before any of this stuff happened, then, he might have he might have felt he was pressured to toe the line and to, be subversive, and then when we get Favreau come in and be like, hey, I'm a man, I'm doing this my way, I'm doing this the Star Wars way, old school Star Wars. Maybe that let Filoni, maybe that kind of opened him up and said, you know what, finally I can do what I was doing with George, this old school Star Wars.
Or maybe he's a wishy-washy beta male who can't stand on
right.
his own
Well, that's kind of what I'm saying. He doesn't have the pull or the confidence of Favreau, so he's kind of a beta. He just had to go along with it to keep his position or whatever, Right. And now that he's got an alpha in there, in hopefully Favreau, he feels a little more confident to go back to his good storytelling of Star Wars. I'm just saying, depending on when these comments are taken, it's possible.
The fixing it's going to take to repair this franchise from the damage done. I don't know if there's anyone who can bring it back to where it was pre-Disney.
No, yeah, it can't. It'll never be the same. I don't think it'll ever be the same.
It would have to be everything that they have done and written is legend. That's what they'd have to do. This is Disney canon. This isn't,
right.
And we're starting over. And even at that point, you don't have the original. We've already been through this 1,000 times. I don't know why we keep doing it, but you're going
to abused lives.
Right? Exactly. We got Stockholm syndrome.
Let's go back over.
It's you still don't. You only had one shot. You had one shot to do it right, and they blew it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, even if that would be the only thing, is to make this Legends and then bring Legends back as the actual canon. But you'd have to totally change everyone in any kind of position of power. It'd have to be a total wipe the slate clean and
recast.
We have to start off on like episode 3 where Yoda's like deep in thought, or episode 2. And Qui-Gon Jinn goes, Anakin, no. And he goes, what the fuck did I just see?
Like it was all a Force vision.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
The only way to fix this shit is going to be done 2 decades from now, when they have when there's no excuse, nobody can really bring up any argument other than, I don't know, whatever you want to recast the originals when it's out of Kennedy, any SJW hands, and then pick up the story right after Return of the Jedi.
Mm-hmm.
And go back into the expanded universe and pluck out the good stuff. Because, all right, I mean, okay, honestly, I've only read like maybe 8 books out of the EU. I'm not an EU aficionado. I love the movies. That's where I get most of my love and information from. Right, and so I think you would have to go back to that time period, recast the originals, and then move forward with more expanded universe centric stories, stuff that feels like Star Wars.
Well, and with the technology, even now, but in another 10, 20 years, with look what they're able to do with deep fakes. You just get an actor that looks similar and get a voice actor who sounds like Mark Hamill, and boom, you got Luke Skywalker you looked in. But you don't even really need.
If you're staring at Tarkin, let's be real. Rogue One is the best thing, the best offering we have gotten. Rogue One is the best offering we've gotten
from Disney. Yeah.
From Disney, and you have to kind of not stare at Tarkin in order, and if you don't scrutinize him, it's good.
Right,
Tarkin looks good.
I mean, I thought I guess that's different because he's. Obviously, Peter Cushing is no longer with us, because I thought like Luke, what they did with Luke and Leia on that quick scene on Endor, they look pretty good as their young versions of themselves. Mm-hmm. But I mean, we're talking another 10 to 20 years from now.
That's what I'm saying. Like, that's the only way you're going to fix it. And like, what's going to come from the virus that shall not be named? What is going to come 6 months down the road? When people have had nothing to really do but think about what has come, what has been given to us so far, and you can't hide the numbers. Disney's under investigation right now for fudging numbers.
Yeah, they have been for a couple years, I think.
Right.
That whistleblower came out 2 years ago or 3 years ago?
Right. Damn well they're doing that. Damn well they're using that same trick with Disney Lucasfilm. There's no way that they have made back $4.05 billion.
No way.
The steady amount of failures and disconnect that they have given
and then
us.
the money they've put into the parks.
Right.
You know, I mean, just think of how much money that cost them to get that together.
There's no way. Yeah, I just, like I said, 6 months down the road, I can't wait to see what Hollywood does.
Yeah, you know, that's a good point too, because with all this time off, there are a lot of people who may be watching things that they haven't been watching recently. You know, so they've been kind of out of touch with things. And if they start watching this, I wonder if the reaction or if the numbers will grow towards, you know, like the Phantom Menace kind of point of view of things.
I'm sorry, go ahead, Final.
No, I was just gonna say, you know, more people watching this stuff and realizing, hey, this is actually crap, or hey, this isn't, you know, Star Wars.
Yeah,
I mean,
this is really shit.
Right.
As a Star Trek fan, I'm looking forward to Discovery Season 3 coming out and people having nothing to do but to watch this garbage and go, yeah, what is this?
Right.
Oh, that's what I'm looking. Oh God, Discovery's going to get destroyed. I can't wait. This has got to be the last season of that show. It's going to get, when people have no choice but to stare at it.
Yeah.
You know,
well, and this is what I wonder. And to get into this Bleeding Full article, could you imagine being a creative under George Lucas's wing, seeing the sell off to Disney and then having to adapt to that scenario?
Right.
This is kind of what this is. So if you can maybe zoom in a little bit and go down to the graphic.
I mean, but George did it.
This one here?
George did it. He did.
Yeah, this is George's fault. Let us all not forget that. Yeah. As much as we love George.
This is Dave Filoni's original concept for who became the Martez. He wanted an Asian male. Okay, I don't know what his name was.
Ball washer.
But yeah. You can see his wolf stamp of approval.
Yeah, is that? And if you a Filoni wolf,
that's pretty cool. Looking.
So if you go down a little bit more, there should be like a little that thing, the story reel. So this is actually a piece of the cinematic. So if you've seen like Death Star was talking about, if you were privy to the original animatics, you saw where they're moving around and they have like the spatial things down, but like their mouths and none of the detail is there. The story arc with the Martez sisters was originally intended to have an Asian man. And here's what I'm thinking is that somebody sat Dave Filoni down and said, listen, we're going to bring back your show. And he's like, great. And he's like, not so fast. We got to tweak it a little bit because
we've got to SJW this shit.
Yeah. You know, Disney's about princesses, right? And he's like, and he's like, yeah, right. So I need you to go back to your computer, delete this guy who's looking down and to the right. I need you to go back and shave his head, turn him into a Latina, and give him a last name like Martez. Because we actually have a couple of and this is how it goes too. If you look in the credits for all these episodes, they actually hired Latina voice actresses to play the Martinezes. And you know what I mean? So that they're trying so hard to make this shit relevant. They're ignoring all formula. They're ignoring all precedent because SJW.
I don't know. Look, I don't mind.
That's my theory. That's my hypothesis, gentlemen.
Hey, you know, I think that's really interesting. And I think you might be onto something just by the fact that this was out there. And, you know, so we know that his original intention was not to have two women. And this was before, right? This was before Disney had them and everything.
That's
I think
before the buyout. Yep.
That's before the buyout. Yeah. So I think you're onto something. I think he was definitely pressured into, you know, changing things and making them their way.
Absolutely.
This is the very definition of forced diversity.
Absolutely. Yeah. God, look, point the finger right at the High Republic. Everything that they have said, everything that has been released, these are the writers who have been groomed, hired, and influenced Disney Star Wars. Look at the way they talk. Look what is important to them. Absolutely. This is definition immortal. Absolutely it is. So I don't, and I don't have any problem with like Martez. I don't have any problem. I do not have any problem with diversity in Star Wars. Never had. I've never given a shit.
I don't think anybody does.
Never given a shit. But you know, when it's ham-fisted and overt, I think that's more. It's more disrespectful to the group you're attempting to pander to than it is a genuine offering of inclusion.
100%.
Well, exactly, because not all Latinas are the Brooklyn like head bobbling, head shaved, fucking, you know.
That's right. Some of them are like Ruthie. Hey, Ruthie, what's up, girl? I missed you.
Ruthie. Yeah, hail Ruthie.
And we were talking about science fiction women. Salma Hayek, Satanica Domenico, right? Diablo, sorry, from Dusk Till Dawn.
Dusk Till Dawn, yeah.
Yeah. Her and Deanna Troy singularly ruined my appreciation for skinny bitches.
Really? Damn.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, every woman has to be healthy. You know what I mean?
Curvy.
Yeah.
Some curvy.
Ideally. I'm not saying like there's no place for nothing, but
I don't give a shit. I still hit Marina Sirtis.
Oh yeah.
I would just do it. I'll be like, and I hit that, yeah.
Be like, look, my balls are just washed.
Jonathan Franks can watch.
Eating the deal for you.
You are free to inspect that, man.
Check out my taint. Smells like Irish Spring. You like that shit? Yeah.
Oh yeah. Cut open a shaving bar, it's gonna spray you in the face.
God. Oh
but yeah, so that's my grand hypothesis, gentlemen. I might end up making a video towards this point.
I think you should. This is a really good video to make because I think you're definitely onto something here.
Yeah,
definitely. Well, and when it's just like a impassioned blithering, it's one thing. But if you can kind of support it and have that journalistic sort of integrity, and still use the fuck words, then I think that we got some pointed entertainment there.
You know what makes me feel bad is that, you know, when there's genuine offers for inclusion, right? When people are actually trying to expand the consumer base by giving characters that certain people can identify with, right? That it makes it the types of disingenuous acts like this, like overt, ham-fisted types of inclusion. It makes it harder. It makes it harder for acceptance for everyone, and I think it makes it a lot more difficult to accept changes that make sense. Because every now and again, whether it's a translation from novel to film or television, there are changes, gender swaps, race swaps, so forth, that make sense in the context of the story being told. And those kind of creative choices are going to get a ton of more scrutiny in a world where we have SJW ham-fisted, shit like this. And that's what I feel bad for, because it really kills creativity or creative inspiration from people who think, you know what, I think this character, like what's going on with Dune.
Yeah.
If you got right, they
rehash.
Gender and race swap the character because it's going to fit into their narrative. Now, I haven't seen the film. Okay, I watched the original Dune. I have not read the books, and I understand that Dune is a very expansive universe. Y'all check out Jane Theory's channel. She does Dune videos.
The idea of spice came from Dune. Yeah,
right. And so I really. I don't know the context of what they're doing. Apparently, they're going to be doing a lot more with the Bene Gesserit, with the sisterhood. So, I mean, maybe that will play in. Maybe it will be better. Maybe that small change will have a big impact that will better the overall story. But the problem is that in today's socio-political push from these extremists that have control over these franchises, it's hard to know if this is a genuine change that is for the betterment of the story or just a ham-fisted representation for the sake of representation. That's what I'm trying. That's what I'm trying to say, is that it really does kill genuine creativity, or the ability to.
That's the idea that I had when I saw this cinematic. I'm just thinking, like, Dave Filoni has had this idea not only stuck in his head, but like relatively well fleshed out. And then he has to get told by his boss to change shit. And then he's sitting on this table having to espouse the same kind of like horse shit. Now, I'm not saying he's innocent, and I'm not saying maybe his mind has been changed or blah, 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 blah. But put yourself in that position as a creative and then swallow your pride and then accept what the fucking establishment is telling you.
Well, I think that that's a situation where you have to decide whether you are a creative or you are working in a business. And I think that in that decision, no matter what the conditions are, Filoni decided that he was in a business. And so he towed the line to keep his job instead of standing up and for the fandom and saying, no, this isn't right. Either way, it's a lose-lose situation, and Filoni doesn't look good.
Well, that's kind of what I want to say is like whether you have made that decision and you're like stuck in your rut, or if you're faced with a decision like that and you can go either way, think about what the Fandom Menace is saying to you guys. You know, you can still redeem yourself. You can still speak up, or you can swallow your nuts and have a very
be a ball washer.
Sack.
That's right. You're going to be
very
a ball
unwashed
washer.
Ball sack. So from us in the fourth wave to you in Radio Land, peace out. We love you.